Got them all cut. So respectable now. The wife's happy. Tristan's happy. Everyone's happy. Well, until 6 months from now. Ha! Enemigo Malbec. What a shocker, huh? Us promoting a wine from El Enemigo. Only one of the greatest wine operations on the entire planet. Has been for years, ever since Alejandro Vigil and Adriana Catena first got this up and running. How long has it been now? Been at least about 15 years? Time flies. So the point here is, this is Alejandro's gig. Alejandro Vigil, in case you forgot, is the head of winemaking at Catena, right? So him and Adriana, Laura's sister, Laura Catena's sister, who's Adriana Vineyards named after her, they got together and decided to do something a little different, not the standard thing. They wanted to deviate a touch from how Catena was handling their business with Malbec and all that fun stuff. And they wanted to kind of put their own stamp on it. So the stamp here is Malbec and Cabernet Franc. So the greatest Cabernet Franc in the world is produced at El Enemigo. We might get to that later. But for their Malbec, they also kind of wanted to crack the mold, right? Because Malbec before this operation came along, and several others, we'll get to that in a minute, it was big wine, dark, juicy, inky. That's what Malbec wants to do, especially growing in these high altitude vineyards, hot days, cool nights, lots of sun, big wines, very natural. Not big like in an Australian way or in a Napa Valley Cabernet sort of way, but in their own way. Lots of blue fruit, dark, punchy, powerful. Alejandro and Adriana thought they could maybe put a slight spin on that without going all the way left, like we see with some of the Zuccardi wines and the Zorzal things and the Ego wines and this type of deal, where those wines are like picked super early, leaner, higher acid. There was a place in the middle where you could settle in with Malbec and create profound wine that wasn't this and it wasn't that. In other words, what Alejandro and Adriana were thinking about was Malbec that was just right. And gosh darn it, they're doing it. How do they do it? Well, first, high altitude vineyards in crazy great locations. All this wine does come from Waltagerie. This is Waltagerie Malbec, which is it's the richest kind. It's our personal favorite spot in Argentina. I think we've covered this before in Mendoza. Waltagerie is high altitude. The wines here are powerful yet graceful, and they respond well to the type of élevage that Alejandro is looking to do with this wine. Élevage, that fancy French term for aging the wine in the cellar. How do you age it? After the wine goes through fermentation and finishes up and you stick it into a whatever, what is the whatever you stick it into? And for how long? Yeah. So basically what they do here is 50% of the wine ages in foudre, which is these large, older wooden vats, right? 25% ages in small barrel, almost none of it new, and 25% of it ages in tank, in stainless steel tank. So what you're doing is you're creating this melange, this cornucopia of different élevages, which in turn creates complexity in the finished wine, while not making the wine too oaky because it's all in new small barrels, nor is it too lean because it's all in stainless steel tank and like super crispy. No, what they're looking for is balance. They're looking for elegance. They're looking for symmetry. Also with this wine, I think they dump in a little dollop of Cabernet Franc here, and why not? Because their Cabernet Franc is the greatest in the land. About 10% Cabernet Franc in here. Now, Alejandro loved the 22 vintage. He thinks it's one of the best vintages they've ever had to work with, and I'm not going to fight him. I'm not going to fight him. Here, blue. Malbec, you have to think blue. Blue fruits. Everything's blue. The florals are blue going to purple, right? So, you know, like blue flowers going into like lavenders and violets and things like that. That's all happening aromatically here. When Malbec is firing on all the cylinders, it has this wonderful blue florality that just pops out. It's less cassis. It's not cassis like Cabernet. It's not minty like Cabernet. It's not overtly cocoa-y like Merlot. Malbec is its own thing, which makes it such a great accompaniment from a blending standpoint in Bordeaux and in California. But here in Mendoza, of course, combination of soil, elevation, exposure, the terroir here lends itself to world-class Malbec. So supple, so fine. Alejandro's making the wines like his style, and I don't know if like Thomas Duclos copied him or he copied. Anyway, he's on the same page as one of the hottest winemakers in Bordeaux right now, Thomas Duclos, who is also doing this same type of thing, but like at Beausejour-Bécot and at, oh my God, brain farting, a bunch of different places, but primarily, you know, oh, of course, the Chanel properties, right? So Canon and all these places. He is reconfiguring what people are thinking stylistically what these wines should be. Just like Michel Rolland and Tunevan, all these guys did in the early 90s with the garagiste movement. They made a commitment to making wine a certain way, and it was wonderful and dark and enjoyable and punchy and rich and powerful. And now we see the pendulum swinging this way. But instead of a wine, when I say pendulum swinging, it's not that it went from hedonism to lean and skeletal. No, these wines, they take in hedonism and kind of moved it from here to here and put a nice polished sheen on it. The elegance, the refinement in these wines is what separates them. So you can, you know, have your cake and eat it too. You're going to have a rich wine, but it's also an on-point wine. It's a refined wine. It's an elegant wine. Quality of the tannins are crazy. Remarkable. All right, you're going to want this wine in your life. Multiple 94, 95 point scores, all the highest accolades I think that this bottling of El Enemigo Malbec ever got from the pundits, and still at that insane crazy price, 25 bucks a bottle. Really hard to find a better bottle of Malbec for the money than the fabulous, fabulous new release from El Enemigo, the 2022 masterful gear. Get some.